Hello, hello, hello. If you can hear me or if you see me, go ahead and throw a thumbs up in the chat. I would love to see it. Hello, hello. I don't know if I can see your chats yet. I'm new to this, obviously. I don't see any chats, but it's okay. If you can see me, there you go. I see Caitlin. Oh, there you go. Oh, there's everybody. What's up? Hey, guys. Hello. My name is Jonathan Miller, and I work here with Chi Alpha. I'm just kidding. Obviously, I'm not Jonathan. But hey, my name is Liz, and I do work here with Chi Alpha, and I get to serve here. If you're wondering, okay, where's the guy with the glorious beard? Well, Jonathan and his wife Alejandra are currently, do you know where? I'm waiting for someone to post it, but it's okay. They just had a baby. Yay! And if you know anything about them, they were waiting to figure out the gender, and they know now that the baby is a girl. So yay, they had a baby girl, and it is awesome. I'm just going to wait for a few more minutes for people to hop on. But if you're in the room and you want to hop on live so you can comment, I would love for you to do so. But like I said, my name is Liz, and tonight we're going to be wrapping up the Beatitudes. So it's going to be kind of like a summation of all the things that we've been learning over the past several weeks. And this is awesome because it's happening right before spring break. And if you are going on a spring break trip, what I want you to do is I want you to throw in an emoji for where you think you're going or where your team is going. We have teams going across the state and even across some of the Southeast. My team is going to Nashville, and other teams are going to Nashville. There are teams going to Knoxville, Chattanooga, St. Louis, Louisville, and it is not too late for you guys to go. So you should totally sign up to go. Where are you guys going for your spring break trip? Knoxville? Yeah. Nowhere. That's my fiance. He's not a part of Chi Alpha, so he can't go. But it's okay. So like I said, we are wrapping up the Beatitudes, and I just want to know. So a lot of you have had jobs before, and if you haven't had a job before, lucky you, you're wealthy. But if you have, I want to know what types of qualifications you have had for your job. Now, I've had multiple jobs. I'm old. I'm 26. So I've taught before, but my very first job was a job at Ponderosa Steakhouse. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Ponderosa, but Ponderosa is honestly, the nickname is Pondegrosa, okay? There's nothing good on the buffet, but the job qualifications to work there was to just be happy and like invite guests and stuff. And another thing was to be able to take care and manage the buffet. So I want to know what type of job you had and what were the qualifications. And I'm looking on the chat too.
I worked at an ice cream shop, and on the qualifications, you had to know how to scoop ice cream properly.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you work in an ice cream shop, you're expected to do that. Yeah. She said if you didn't hear, you need to scoop ice cream properly if you work in an ice cream shop. Mm-hmm. Some of you guys say good customer service and attitude. Thanks. Someone said I'm looking cute. That doesn't matter. Keep people alive. Yeah. Tori, I think you work in a hospital, so I'm glad you're trying to keep people alive. Willingness to do manual labor. Awesome. Anybody else? What are some job requirements you had to do?
Have a diploma.
Have a diploma? Yeah. This says flip a burger. I'm so proud of you. Campus missionary. Love Jesus and be willing. That's awesome. So when we have been reading the Beatitudes, it's kind of like qualifications that Jesus has set before us. So I would like us to take a look at them. And it is Matthew 5, 3 through 10. So if you're going to look, I'll give you a second to turn there. Matthew 5:3, I'll start there. It says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called sons of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So the Beatitudes are really cool because, like I said, they're like the qualifications of Jesus is seeking for his followers. However, these qualifications are a little bit more specific, and they're not just like qualifications. They're like goals that we as Christians are striving towards. And it's kind of like on-the-job training, like hanging out with Jesus and knowing what he expects of you. Is it possible, just wondering, to be a teacher and to never get trained by another teacher? No, I'd hope not, because that's kind of weird. Or is it possible for a doctor to never train with a doctor? No.
I won't want them working on me.
Said I don't want any doctor who's never trained to work on me. I agree with him. But that's the thing, is when we are learning to be part of God and like his kingdom, we need to spend time with Jesus. And I have a question for you guys. Have you ever had a teacher in your life that you knew that they hated their job and they treated you like they hated you as well? And you thought, oh my goodness, why are you teaching if you hate kids? Have you guys ever had that happen before? If so, I would like to hear a story, but be nice. Any nice stories?
I was a teacher who would constantly yell, and she would just scream
Uh-huh.
at us for no reason, and we're not even, just be quiet, we're like talking.
There are teachers who like scream for no reason. That's what she was saying. Derek said his mom would yell at him. Derek was homeschooled, so like that's kind of funny. But anyways, that's like an implicit quality as a teacher. You're supposed to like kids if you're going to teach them, right? This is kind of the same way, like when we're reading the Beatitudes. I just read in the chat, a teacher threw a chair and almost hit a kid, and I started cracking up. So let me retry that. With the Beatitudes, there's an implicit like idea that Jesus has for us. If we want to follow him, we should actually want the job, right? Like as teachers, if they want to teach us, they should actually want the job. So that's the one quality Jesus is expecting from us. And when we follow Jesus, there's huge surrender that has to take place in our lives. Let's go down to Matthew 5:11 and 12. And these are the verses that we're really going to focus on for tonight. And it says, "Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. For in the same way, they persecuted the prophets who were before you." So the main point of the Beatitudes is this: being a disciple is okay, and is one day you're going to look like, act like, believe like, and be treated like the one that you've been following. That's what it looks like to be a disciple. And when you look like Christ, not everyone is going to want to be on your team. And not every person is going to agree with you. Have you guys ever worked really hard on something? And like put lots and lots of work into it. And then you go and show someone and they're like, oh, good job. That was my mom, by the way, growing up. I'm sure that was your mom too. But one time my little brother decided he wanted to make dessert for the family. And bless his soul, I don't know what he was thinking. But I think he thought olives and yogurt went really good together, you know? So he opened the fridge, got the yogurt out, got olives. I'm pretty sure he like dropped some mustard in there, like stirred it around. And then he brought it to my mom. And my mom was like, wow, David, good job. Like she didn't know what to say. And I know sometimes that happens, but that's a little bit like the way people will treat you when you tell them that you've become a Christian. Like, oh, cool. And not everyone is actually going to be on your team. Because they're not going to understand you. They're not going to understand the joy you have. And you may be rejected, but Jesus is saying, although your heart may break, he's with you. And although your heart may break, eternity is still waiting for you. Because in having to walk through those things the same way that he did, that means your true disciple of Jesus. I want to share a personal story with you guys, if that's chill. A lot of you know a little bit about my testimony. Not many of you do, but I'm going to share part of it tonight. But I grew up in a Christian home, and I came to Chi Alpha in 2013. And when I was a part of Chi Alpha, one thing that I did, because every good freshman girl does this, I got a boyfriend, and he was not the best for me. I will admit it. He didn't really want me to surrender fully to Jesus because it scared him. I felt a deep call to missions, and he wanted to go with me, but it wasn't because he wanted to go with me, with Jesus. It was because he wanted to go with me. So every decision he was making was just for me and not for God. I was a part of Crux for a long time, and as I was in the Crux class, I felt the Lord tell me, hey, Liz, this is not your husband. And I was really devastated, because in my mind, I was thinking, okay, God, you asked me to fully surrender, and now you're taking this one thing away from me. I don't understand. So fast forward, I decided to break up with him. And when I broke up with him, I had this dream that was really crazy. But I dreamed that I was getting married to him. And I was in my wedding dress, and I looked absolutely beautiful. And I was on a pedestal almost. And as I stood on this pedestal, I looked around and saw my friends, and they were happy for me. And then I got off the pedestal. And when I was walking down the aisle, I saw him at the end, and I was so excited to marry him. But in my spirit, I physically felt my heart drop, because I felt very sad. I went from happy to sad. And in the same dream, he was standing at the front, and behind him were these doors that were wide open. And they had ministry and missions and my future in them. And I literally saw God's hands shut the door. And I felt like the Lord was saying, if I marry this man and I'm not fully surrendered to God, that he's going to shut the door to ministry and missions. And that blew me away, because that dream was so vivid. And finally, I realized this persecution that I'm feeling now to surrender things that I don't want to is for my benefit. So let's fast forward, okay? Let's fast forward about 7 years. I do the internship with Chi Alpha. I do 10 months of singleness. 1 month after I'm done with the internship, I meet somebody. Actually, I kind of knew him. He was on my support team, but he texts me out of nowhere and is like, hey, God told me to ask you on a date. Do you want to go on a date? And I was like, I guess so. But I would like you to meet my fiance, Derek.
Hello.
Derek is incredible, and he is everything that the Lord has prepared for me. And not just that, Derek has been a part of ministry. He traveled with Eddie James for a year, and he knows what it's like to be a part of ministry. So it's like the Lord even knew that I needed someone who was a part of ministry when he asked me to surrender. Thanks for coming up here. But my whole point with that is that God is going to ask you to do hard things sometimes. And when it may seem like it sucks, but because we're followers of Jesus, and because we have these prerequisites of the Beatitudes, he's going to ask us to surrender. In the moment, it's going to be terrible, but he promises a great reward. And the great reward isn't just that he's going to fulfill his promises, but we're going to be able to go to heaven, and we get to spend eternity with him. And I guess if we reread the last part, verse 12, it would say something like this. Rejoice and be glad, because through surrendering your life to Jesus, you have become like him. And although you will have to deal with drama while you're here, because he had to deal with drama, none of it will compare to the paradise, the happiness, the joy that's in store. As we get ready to transition into course and stuff, by the way, I kept it short because Sam asked me to, because she wants to go eat afterwards, so I did it for you, Sam. I would like you guys to just talk about surrender. And one of the things that comes to my mind when I've been praying for is, why do people not surrender to you, God? It makes sense for everyone to surrender and give their life if they get to have paradise. But I felt the number one reason surrender doesn't happen, one is because of fear. And when fear hinders you, it literally dictates your mind. Once you give fear the authority, that's when that's the number one say in your life. The other thing that hinders you from completely surrendering is shame. And I think shame is so ugly because that's obviously not from God. There's two things. There's conviction and then there's shame. Shame tells you that you're too far away from Jesus to ever come back to him. Conviction says you can come back to me and I love you. There's two huge differences. And I want to just encourage you guys, as we're getting ready to talk about surrender, to know that shame should not hinder you and fear should not hinder you. And I want you guys to have really open conversation about that. What is holding me back from being fully and totally surrendered to God? Hey, I love you guys. Remember to keep Alejandro and Jonathan in your prayers and go ahead and transition into your course.